A $9 billion carrier goes dark, the Fujian is sinking, and the real fight is just starting. You clicked for missiles, you're staying for the system that decided who lived. In the next minutes, you'll see how USS Higgins and a fast attack sub held a firing line while their crews fought a second war in the wires, jammers, decoys, and a sensor net that had to correlate targets in seconds. Miss one correlation, lose a ship. Why did that matter more than another salvo? Stay and watch the moment kinetic victory turns into a race to outlearn the enemy. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You saw fire on the horizon. The real story is how one destroyer made a carrier group bleed out in minutes, and why the next minutes mattered more than the first. The surface picture snapped into place fast. Higgins held forward in a crowded sea lane, her bow pointed down the threat axis. A fast attack submarine slid quiet in the weeds, stalking from the low side. Ahead, a carrier group led by a $9 billion flagship pushed fighters and missiles, with heavy escorts tightening the screen. The lane looked commercial, but the water was a maze of wakes and clutter. Good cover for lies. Bad ground for clean radar. By doctrine, that air defense umbrella should have sealed off close-range threats. But decoys, smart jammers, and sea clutter started to salt every scope. Tracks bloomed, merged, and broke. Not chaos, designed noise. The kind that punishes a single lazy correlation and rewards the side that keeps its picture honest for one more cycle. Inside Higgins' Combat Information Center, the loop ran hot. Operators compressed tracks, tagged confidence levels, and assigned shooters. The net fused subsurface pings, surface returns, and air tracks across secure links, then filtered out the echoes that smelled wrong. One missed stitch meant a seam in the shield. They trimmed the link to hold the local picture steady. Short loop, tight language, clear triggers. The first exchange hit hard. Sea-skimming anti-ship missiles rode the troughs. Higgins rippled SM-SIXS for the tough angles and ESSMs for the closer darts. Hard kills reached. Soft kills bent. Chaff cut bright false clouds. Nulk allures tugged seekers off steel and toward empty water. Jammers brushed guidance lanes just long enough to turn near hits into white splash. A few got through the outer ring, then died inside the last mile. The deck stayed dry. Meanwhile, the submarine set the board. Slow screw. Tight depth. Wire-guided torpedoes warmed and waiting. The timing mattered more than raw power. Hit as the escorts peaked on air defense and turned to unmask radars, and you cut their cross-domain rhythm. The boat read new bursts from the escort line, formation shifting, screens tightening, and cued a shot where the noise grew fat and the helm was busy. Then the hinge moment. One escort chased a ghost contact that looked just real enough to shame anyone who ignored it. Another burned precious radar time on a blob that walked like a threat but never closed. The flagship lost the clean picture. For 20 heartbeats, the group defended 3 problems that did not line up on one map. Higgins punched a counter-salvo under electronic cover. Not a brawl. A timed reveal. Missiles slid out low while the jammers stirred the pot. The sub fired from the blind pocket and drove heavy metal at the screws. 2 domains. 1 clock. Orthogonal pressure that forced the defense to look up and down at once. Payoff came fast and ugly. Torpedoes cracked the belly and ripped energy out of the flagship's fight. Follow-on hits lit the deck and chewed the launch cycle. The big ship listed. Catapults stalled. The escorts net frayed where the timing cuts were made. Higgins rode out the counter by keeping the network honest. No panic, no hero shots, only the next correlation. The destroyer lived because the system kept the defense blind long enough to split it. But then the horizon coughed up something else. Lower. Quieter. Faster on the turn than any playbook had room for. Tracks that did not hold. Angles that jumped mid-course. The kind of threat your missiles can't cleanly lock and your radars can't swear to on the first pass. And it did not come alone. If you had one more missile or one more line of code, which would you choose? The wreck still breathed smoke when the next threat arrived. Sea-skimming hypersonic drones rolled in low, small on radar, fast in the troughs. They linked by tight encrypted beams and shared cues without lighting up the sky. Mid-course, they shifted paths like boxers cutting angles. The old Aegis rhythm, detect, track, engage, lost the beat. Higgins tried to hold a lock. Tracks flickered, then slid. Every hard kill shot needed a stable picture. Every picture broke as the swarm swapped roles on the fly. One drone went spotter, another posed as a fat decoy, a third slid to striker and took the gap. Miss a handoff and you shoot air. Chase the wrong glint and you hand them the line of approach. Meanwhile, the submarine clawed for signal in a field of lies. USS Virginia added faint acoustic cues from the drone's low-altitude churn and quick periscope peaks between whitecaps. Useful, but not clean. The swarm hopped frequencies and masked emissions, smearing into the noise floor. Even a perfect ear hears little when the room is full of static. Then the EW knife fight. Higgins split the jammers and pushed noise into the band. The swarm slid off, shifted, and kept talking over a narrow beam the ship struggled to poison. The destroyer threw chaff and nulka to pull seekers. The drones deconflicted and threaded the clutter. Fake echoes bounced back and multiplied. A bad echo near friendlies turns into a trap. One wrong trigger, one rushed ID, and you eat your own wake. This was old math versus new math. You can pack steel and stack tubes. You can armor decks and write doctrine for massed fire. But data rules speed, and speed rules survival. Who correlates faster wins. Who hesitates burns. Escorts started to drift back to keep hulls alive. Space assets fought for clean orbits through jam and glare. Both sides poured false tracks into the ether. A screen full of ghosts looks brave until someone believes the wrong one. Miss one correlation, lose a ship stopped being a warning and became the norm. The limit hit early, and it was not steel. Magazines dropped, yes, but compute cycles ran hot first. Operators hit the wall. Eyes red, hands steady, minds lagging a beat. Fatigue in the loop turned into a weapon. The swarm pressed that edge, changing roles faster than men could label them. Higgins trimmed the net, cut talkie circuits, and locked down rules of fire to keep pace by shedding noise. Less chatter. More signal. So why did the newest carrier fold? Its shield cracked where the picture fractured. EW noise smeared truth. Decoy saturation 8 time. Cross-domain timing created blind windows. That is the seam the submarine took. Virginia's stealthy cue set the window, then torpedoes pried it open. Higgins' network discipline kept it open long enough to cut the launch cycle and tip the big deck on its side. The carrier did not fall to a single shooter. It lost to a team that learned faster. One drone got through and kissed Higgins' port side hard, scarring the skin. Not a kill. A lesson. Missiles and torpedoes by moments. Compute buys survival. The wreck settles. The feeds do not. Ownership of the airwaves now decides who writes the rules for the next swarm, and who just reads the obit after the screen goes to snow. The last clean headline sank with the carrier. After that, the war moved to the noise, an arena where control of correlations beats raw firepower. You saw missiles land. What one was the net that held when the screen went to snow? The side that filtered ghosts, fused cues, and kept a stable loop wrote the fight. That's the new high ground at sea. Comment your choice below, more missiles or more compute. If you want the mindset that wins the next fight, hit the subscribe button. Wars don't end on impact, they end when one side can't learn fast enough. Subscribe and join a community that digs in.